Welcome back to another hour of Scotch Hour. I am Noah.
And I'm Jesse.
All right, this is episode 250. And tonight we are going to experience the Lagavulin 12-year special release from 2023 something Inc. What was it called?
The Ink of Legends.
Ink of Legends. Sorry, I missed that part up there. Anyway, in any case, from there, we'll have our shout outs and get it togethers, followed by our restaurant review being the Rabbit Hole. Then our Smarter Challenge, how to make a killing. Real quickly, before we go any further, a quick shout out to all of those who watch us on YouTube and Rumble. We greatly appreciate all of your support. And we also greatly appreciate the support to all the listeners on the many different podcast platforms. If you do like our content, please like, share, and subscribe. And leave some comments down below. Let us know what you think about this 2023 Lagavulin or any of the Lagavulins, as well as the movie, the How to Make a Killing. Let us know what you think about that as well. We'd love to hear your comments.
Scotch review.
All right, well, it was time for a great Scotch. We're hoping, not that we haven't had like 4 in a row, but we're going for number 5 here. So we're going with the Lagavulin 2023 special release, the Ink of Legends. Lagavulin definitely, if not my favorite, one of my favorites for that rich Isla, peaty, briny character and flavor profile. A little bit about the distillery. If you've never watched their shows, I'll give you the quick rundown. It is an Isla single malt Scotch distillery, founded in 1816. They do have 2 wash stills, 2 spirit stills, not the largest producer, but have an annual capacity of 1.4 million liters per year. Their water source is the Salem Lochs, and they are known for that peat, that brine, that very, what I want to say, rugged, manly flavor profile. So looking forward to that. Couple other quick pieces. A lot of history here. They are known for their 16-year-old. It is their most common, their brightest, and their probably most sold, I'm guessing. They are owned by Diageo. Now, if you're watching the news, here we are in the beginning of 2026, and the liquor industry is feeling an impact either economically and or generationally. Their sales did not meet expectations. Stock went down, I think 13% today, as they didn't hit that guidance, that expectation for what they would do sales-wise. Gen Z is definitely drinking less. Good for you guys, and I mean that sincerely. More for me. I mean that sincerely. And also, people are being wiser and more discriminatory with their spending. And interestingly enough, that's not a bad time to discriminate, is how you spend your money. But with the Lagavulin, that Diageo is located in London. They've owned them for a little while now. This particular variation, 56.4 ABV, and it's finished in Don Julio Añejo tequila casks. Now, this is believed to give it a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of creaminess, and really help layer some of those different flavors. I mentioned the 16 is their standard. They do have an 8-year-old, a 16-year-old, lots of variations in between, special releases, a 9 that they did for the Game of Thrones. They have their Distillers Edition, the 21, 25, 30, 37, and all the Offerman editions, which are typically, I actually think they're all 11-year-old single malts there. Distillery, again, founded in 1860 when John Johnson and Archibald Campbell Brooks constructed 2 distilleries on the same site. One of them became Lagavulin, taking over the other. Which one is not exactly known. So 2 distilleries, Lagavulin Distillery became the victor, taking over the second. Records show illicit distillation. Man, was dating back all the way to 1742. The distillery was run by John Johnston until 1835. That is, we're talking just shy of 200 years, at which point the distillery had a valuation of 1.103 British pounds. Can you imagine how, what an investment to buy it then and see it now.
Oh, yeah.
It was taken over by Alexander Graham, who installed his son Walter Graham as the distiller, and he ran it until 1848. But then he moved to Laphroaig, and presently his brother John Crawford Graham, at that same time, took charge of the Lagavulin distillery. 49 improvements were carried out. Buildings were updated, so to speak. And again, the brothers are going back and forth. Laphroaig, Lagavulin, lots of history, legal battles ensuing. But at the end of the day, we fast forward. I won't give you all the details, but we have the Lagavulin that we have today. I would say for me, I think some of their biggest competitors in the area, number one, Laphroaig is a competitor still to this day. They make some great scotches. Also, when you consider the volume, not a huge distillery, not Glenfiddich or the Macallan. But also, interestingly enough, not an Islay single malt distillery. Oban has a lot of the same briny characteristics, which for the longest time I just assumed it was a Islay Scotch because of some of that brine. Another one though is Ardbeg. So you got Laphroaig, Ardbeg, Kilchoman. Lots of them. Kilchoman, again, the newest distillery on the island, but lots of great things there. Diageo, again, has done some fun special releases, some of my favorites, but I gotta say, still to this day, I do love the 18-year-old, except for the one time I didn't really care for was right when the COVID moving restrictions had been released, and we know that the Angel took more than their share. A lot of water had evaporated. They didn't attend to the casks, and I do think that some of the flavors were not the same right after COVID and production began full manpower. Any tours this time of year?
Yeah, there are some tours going on right now. I guess it should be stated that they just newly renovated their warehouse number 3. So they started off with some experiences, which is the first one's called the warehouse number 3 experience. Here you get to visit the newly renovated warehouse. It's basically an hour and 15 minutes experience. It's 60 Great British Pounds, and here you get to learn more about the craftsmanship there at Lagavulin, and you get a draw directly from the cask, and that's like the big draw for this one here, pun intended, I guess.
Hey, stay away from too much wood.
All right, the next one here is called the Exclusive Experience. This is 2 hours long. It's 110 Great British Pounds. Here you start with a tour of the production areas, including the iconic still house. And then you have a tasting in the Mackie Lounge where you get to sample a new spirit and end with a hand-filled 20 centiliter bottle. And then from there we have our classic tour, which is 22 Great British Pounds. This is an hour and a half. You begin with a 16-year dram, then the host will guide you through the distillery, ending upon a 3-dram tutoring. So that once again was 22 Great British Pounds in an hour and a half. Then we have the Premium Warehouse number 3 tour and tasting. This is basically you're slamming together the Warehouse 3 experience with the classic tour, so you kind of get the best of both worlds. Although the time frame is not reflective in that, so it's only about an hour and 45 minutes, and it's 105 Great British Pounds for that experience.
Worth every penny, I'm sure.
I'm sure it is. Every single penny.
All right.
And the taste buds will love it.
Well, someday, that is the plan. Until then, let's go ahead and break open this Lagavulin, the Ink of Legends. Again, 2023 special release. The big point here, 56.4 ABV. Diageo partnership, I'm sure, of Lagavulin always does a nice job with the canister. Part of this canister was their partnership with International Cultural Trade. So we see the influence upon the artwork there. I am looking forward to this tequila, Don Julio tequila cask, añejo cask finish, because I don't know that Lagavulin's done that. I know a lot of the other distilleries have done it. Some of them turned out great. Some of them turned out questionable. Beyond the canister, the bottle, the artwork, much like the canister, much like the Diageo special releases. Let's see about the nose. It does have their consistent solid wood topper and their consistent, unfortunately, pressed cork.
Glug, 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 glug.
Glug, 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 glug. One of the things I do like about the Lagavulin bottle is that glug. Don't get that from every bottle.
No, you don't. It does make a nice. It's almost like when you open up a can of Coke and it goes, right? It's like that special sound. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I guess it's time for our tasting notes and the warp speed section. So, cheers.
Cheers.
The 2023 special release edition from Lagavulin. What an experience. I really thought I liked it a lot. And what a long way I've come in giving the special releases from Lagavulin scores. I'll just start off with that to begin with. I think our first ever score was with the Lagavulin, and it's sad that I gave it as low of a score as I did. Like with
the 65, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like terribly low, obscenely low. Which is sad because I love the canister a ton. And honestly, I bet you if I go back and with how our palates have developed over time, I probably would appreciate the spice in it more now than I did back then. Any case, talking about this particular one here from 2023, the canister is not as like intricately designed as some like the other ones that I would normally give a 5, but because of how the artwork is, I have to I guess I'm guessing I know I am giving it a 5 points out of 5 just because of the artwork. The artwork to me does go above and beyond something that is normal, and I think it makes it worthy of that 5th point or that last point to make it a 5. If we did half scales, though, I'll put this note here. If we did half scales, I would only give it a 4.5 because something like what we visited like a couple weeks ago with the Mortlock special release with that box and all that was like wicked cool, and that really truly deserves a 5. This just has like a really nice artwork, but that's why I said if we did a 4.5, I'd give it a 4.5. But because we don't do 0.5s, I'm rounding up, so it gets a 5 here. So reluctant 5, but still a 5 nonetheless. The color, I put just a nice straw gold here. It seems like this kind of like straw color is very typical of Lagavulin, and I think they kind of kept true to that a little bit, and so I gave that a 5 out of 5 as well. The nose, to me, right away, I get notes of brine and lime citrus on the nose with some sweetness from the agave with mild smoked peat and oak. It was a pleasant nose, but not one that warranted a high marks, but still pleasant enough to where it was a solid nose, which is why I gave it 26 out of 30 points. The palate, though, surprised me. It was much different than what I expected from the nose. It was creamy with some upfront sweetness of like some plum and agave. Then it transitioned into some notes of brine and orange citrus, as well as some earth tones. And then it started to give way to some nice pepper and cinnamon spices. And this is where I think maybe my palate has grown over time, because I think if we go back 4 years ago, whatever, whenever it was when we scored the Lion special release, I really didn't like that spice. Where here, I think this was a nice, pleasant spice of the pepper and the cinnamon, and I thought it played well into the palate. I gave the palate actually 28 points. I thought there was nice complexity. Well, it was fairly well balanced throughout, and I love the creamy coatiness of the mouthfeel. The finish was medium to long in length, with notes of dry sweetness, some mild spice. Something I really like a lot is that tobacco earth tone, which I received in my finish. A little bit of smoke, and then there's this lingering iodine flavor, which was also very nice, which kind of allowed for a pleasantly clean feel in my mouth. So I gave the finish 26 points. Grand total 90 points. Black tie worthy. I'm going to say yes, because it is a special release. It would be some great talking points here, something that could well represent you. Although, here's the thing, though, too. I'm going to say this, but I think for the price range, there's some other ones I would rather take over than this one. But I still think this is so black tie worthy. Game night worthy. I'm not exactly sure how much you got this one for or what it's going for now, but I'm going to say probably because of the price point. I would not necessarily say it's game night worthy unless it's a special game night.
Find the sausage.
And then does it have a spot on your shelf? Honestly, I think a lot of these Diageo special releases, just because of the designs of the canisters, do kind of deserve a spot on the shelf. And most of the time, they're the way they taste also supports that idea it has a spot on the shelf. Is this a one that is a victory dram? I'll tell you this. It has characteristics of a victory dram, but I would much rather drink something like a Lagavulin 16 as my victory dram, or maybe something like the Corey Vecken from Ardbeg, or even the Ugadal from Ardbeg. I think to me those are manly type of victory ones, just because of especially if you like Isla, that you feel that smoky peat and brininess. Those, I think that fits better into that category rather than this.
All right. Well, presentation wise, I do think the palette on this Scotch is phenomenal. That is definitely its high point. Presentation wise, I don't disagree that the artwork is intricate, that the bottle is great, that it is fun. However, I'm going to stick with the 4. I made this commitment that there are those that are overachievers. They get the 5s. Everyone else gets the 4s or lower. This is a 4. And really, if we think about some of the cheaper Scotches we've done, they be getting 3s now. Which is really true. Even the Glenlivet low-end boxes, that's a 3 now. But this, to me, I agree. It's fun. Do I want to hang it on my wall? Not necessarily. It's not that I don't like it. It's just not sexy to me. So presentation of 4. The color is lighter than I expected from a Lagavulin, but what I will say is this is Isla champagne. If you got that full glass of good champagne, that's the color of this Scotch to me. And it is sexy. The color is sexy. So 5 out of 5 on the color. On the nose, also a 26 as Noah gave it. I do like that there's brine, that maritime citrus with some lime, and there's a very mild wood, hints of fruit, and I think you said this as well, that agave sweetness, a little bit of Isla smoke and oak, but the nose wasn't profound to me. Maybe it's not robust, definitely not sexy. So 26 on the nose. The palate, though, is where it is all at for me. And I did adjust my score here on the palate because the palate is that great. It's interesting to me that a Scotch can have such a mild nose. And what's going to come out later is an unimpressive finish. And I think the unimpressive finish is because how amazing the palate is. On the palate, there is that maritime creamy sweetness. It's a little bit of pepper up front. It's creamy pepper, and then you get the peat and the smoke and a little bit of orange peel. Not a ton. Little orange peel, some more of that lime. I get a hint of some red fruit. And I'm guessing that it's raspberry. That's just a guess because I can't pinpoint it. There is that lime zest, and I do like the lime zest. There's white pepper again towards the end of the palate. The palate is long. And tobacco, all of these flavors together, all layered meticulously. I'm going to say that was the intentional part with the Don Julio Agave tequila cask finish. That part was great. And it changed my score from my initial score. It's a 29. Like the palate is a 29 for me. The finish, however, when the palate ends, and it is a long palate, the finish starts and it drops off quickly. There is still some peppery ash, which is okay. There's a herbal note, and I'm not sure exactly which herbs it is. I want to say rosemary and sage. And then there's some more mild wood and mild smoke, but just a 26 on the finish for me. So for total, also a 90. And here's the interesting thing is for me, again, to me, that artwork's just not sexy. I would not take this to a black tie. I think you can still get bottles of it. It was originally going for Diageo. I believe said it was supposed to be right around the 159 range. Most of the liquor stores around here, probably because it's Lagavulin 2 years ago and highly sought after, and the demand was there, we're charging 180, 190. So because of that, I would not take it to a game night. Another interesting piece is, as a Lagavulin lover, this is not one I'm moving something else off of my shelf for. If I've got 100 bottles and 8 of them are slotted for Lagavulins, I'll take the 8, the 16, the 2021, the 2022, the Game of Thrones, the distillers. I'll take many other options over this one because the palate's great, but the finish, it almost ruins, something in the finish almost ruins how great the palate is. So not a spot on the shelf. It is not a winning dram for me.
It's time for our shout-outs.
Number 1 shout out, quick and easy, U.S. hockey team taking the gold in the Olympics.
You stole mine.
Oh, shit. But my get it together is for all of the Democrats in February 25th, 2026 State of the Union address who did not stand up at multiple comments, but the one that really shocked me, I was at the gym on the treadmill when I'm hearing this, watching the Dems sit down, is when Trump says, hey, please stand up if your primary focus here in your role, and I'm paraphrasing, is to take care of U.S. citizens and not illegal immigrants. And all the Republicans stood up and all the Democrats stayed down. And I don't understand. I literally don't understand if there is just some ignorance, arrogance, but if the people paying my paycheck, I'm willing to say, you're not my focus. I'm going to increase your taxes. You're not my focus. There's something wrong with that. I don't understand it. How? Do they not see that they're shooting themselves in the foot. But then I think about New York, and they're still voting for people like that. So maybe these people deserve these type of tyrannical communist leaders. I don't want them. I will fight them. I don't get it. I don't understand. And that's my get together is how do you not stand up for a World War II veteran and all of these great things that our country is doing and the people of this country, but you ultimately stand for illegal immigrants from other countries. I got to stop. It's bothersome. It's literally bothersome.
Well, I would say your shout outs / get it togethers are pretty much similar to what mine are. First and foremost, shout out to Team USA Hockey, men's hockey team. Dude, I don't know if you watched the game. I didn't watch the game because I was actually teaching. So when the game was going on, I was actually getting prepped and driving to the class I teach. But actually, when I got to the area, I watched the overtime, and it was so exciting to watch it. And I didn't even know the guy who scored. I think was it Hughes is his last name.
Yes. I believe it was because he's the same guy, the same name that got kicked off the Olympics 40 years ago.
But so apparently the guy has the same name as the guy who got kicked off the 1980s U.S. hockey team. But the cool part here is I didn't know he actually got his tooth broken in I think it was the first period or second period of the game, and then ends up winning this. Ends up shooting the game-winning goal. Through the 5-hole, which was amazing in itself. But it was so exciting to watch that win. And so, yeah, they deserve a total shout out. And I think you mentioned this as far as the State of the Union. That's a slam dunk one. How can you not stand up to cheer for these guys? There's no politics involved in this part. It's just purely a bunch of guys who play a sport who are representing our country. How can you not cheer for them winning that competition against other countries? And if you can't stand up and cheer for that I don't know. I think that says something about that person's character and who they are for and who they are against. Likewise, how do you not stand up, like you said, for a World War II veteran? That I don't understand that. And then anyways, my other shout out goes to Trump for the actual State of the Union. If I had to give a get it together, it would be the same get it together that you gave. And I have one last shout out, and this goes to a person running for, and I almost wish I lived in this person's district so I could vote for her. But it's a Texas congressional. She's running for a Texas congressional seat. Her name is Valentina Gomez, and she's unapologetically conservative and Christian, and she has no qualms about calling out Sharia law or anything like that. And watching some of her political ads makes you just go whoa, this beep is not playing.
I gotta I'm gonna throw in one other piece because it ties all of this together. So Trump made a comment on the phone. We all saw the clip, I'm guessing, and some people took it. When I heard it, I didn't take it as derogatory in any way. But he's like, "Hey guys, I'm also going to be in. I have to invite the ladies also." Referring to the ladies hockey team who also dominated and won the gold
in overtime against Canada as well.
Yes, exactly, which is just
deservedly so. They deserve praise.
Yes, they do. But that was taken as derogatory and negative. And then the media, the Dems, the media, they turned it into this ugly piece of he's sexist, he's anti-feminist, and all of these other pieces. And then do you know how the women's team celebrated? Instead of going to the State of the Union address on a U.S. military plane and being recognized by our nation, instead of being recognized by the president and our nation, they went to Las Vegas, and hung out with Flava Flav, who threw them a party. Now, this is a guy who has convictions left and right as recently as 2021 for domestic violence and other things. And that's how they celebrate. That literally, really? So you're going to go party.
So that's why they turned down the invitation to the State of the Union to go party with Flavor Flav?
In Vegas.
That's their... Because I think, quote unquote, they said they had training obligations.
Yeah. Yeah, they couldn't make it. So they partied with Flavor Flav in Las Vegas. Now, I'm biased, I'm sure, in the sense of I thought part of the Olympics and part of the reason you went for a country was to celebrate that country, represent that country, and then be recognized for the gold. And they did none of that. Like, where they lost it is the end. And to your point about the U.S. hockey team and him having his tooth broken, and if you've ever had a tooth broken, I don't know how he did it. Like, unless they injected him with like 20 different Advil.
I'm sure they did.
I don't think they can legally. Like, I think they drug testing, they get kicked out.
I'm sure they can do something like Vicodin or something.
I don't know, maybe like topical, but the pain is intense. And
well, the root has to be exposed, right? The nerve has to be exposed.
When you break a tooth that low and blood is coming out of the center of the tooth, the newt is, yes, like just the pain. If you ever had a root canal, that's the pain. When the anesthetics and the pain relief medicines aren't working, I've been there and I almost had a drill put through my mouth. The dentist wouldn't work on me. He sent me somewhere else because he's like, I can't. He's like, I almost put my drill through your mouth. And I'm like, I can feel everything. And it was like being shocked by, okay, so not to go down that tangent, but how beautiful everything the U.S. men's hockey team did post-victory, grabbing the flag, all of these pieces, that is what the Olympics were always supposed to be to me. That's what Usain Bolt did. He was happy to grab the Jamaican flag and run across and around the track with it. That's what it's supposed to be about. It's celebrating not just yourself, but a country that gave you an opportunity, whether that's the Soviet Union back in the day, Russia, Ukraine today, the United States. It's just interesting to me how did the Olympics become political? Like, you represent a country, period.
Exactly. And I'm going to give one more get it together here. Not a shout out, but to get it together. To the Olympic people, like, they should be inviting Russia. Russia should have had an invite to the Olympics. Mm-hmm. They have, like, the Olympics is a way for us as a people in the globe to come together as fellow humans and come on a common ground and use sports to bring us all together. And by saying a certain country is excluded, that all that does is push that country away, and it does not allow for that whole olive branch of trying to find peace through another means. And so I think the Olympic Committee deserves to get it together in this one.
Well, especially when you think about all the other different.
And honestly, I think the Russians might be in the right.
Especially when you think about all the other different conflicts that have happened and are currently happening in the Middle East and everywhere else. They're doing the same stuff, but worse, genocide.
Restaurant Review.
All right, this week's restaurant review. This is a fun one, the Rabbit Hole in Colorado Springs. You want to kick this off or you want me to?
You kick it off. I mean,
right.
You know this place much better than I do.
I don't know about that. This place is literally, I will call it a hole in the ground. It is a fun little establishment. I don't know that the term little is right, but it's a fun establishment there in Colorado Springs, and you do go down to get into the restaurant. So as you walk upon the main street there in Colorado Springs, you do go down a set of stairs to get to the restaurant, at which point, especially if it's sunny outside, it is very dimly lit inside. Your eyes may take a moment to adjust. Upon arrival, you're greeted. The greeting's great. The interior, again, the interior is sexy, and I loved that. It's fun, it's dark, I'm going to use another term, romantic. Part of that is that aesthetic of there's art on the walls. It's quiet, comforting, and I'm going to use another term, traditional, as far as what a restaurant can be, and fun. Again, just sexy. So upon our arrival, we were greeted immediately. Traffic was for a first for me in ages, non-existent going to Colorado Springs. So we got there 38 minutes early. They still sat us quickly at a great table with a good view and some beautiful arrangement above the table, at which point we were again greeted by our waitress, and she brought us water, gave us recommendations. We ordered our drinks. This is all very prompt. We were still there almost an hour and a half, which is crazy because it did not seem that long. It's all very prompt. She got our drinks to us. We asked a few questions. She made appetizer recommendations. She did a great job as a waiter or waitress, leading the experience for us as she's taking the drink order before she walks away, making recommendations for appetizers. As we asked recommendations for dinner, she gave us some. I really appreciated she didn't choose the most expensive things on the menu, because that was what I was going to order at first. I was going to get that ribeye. I was like, this sounds good. I love asparagus. I want all this. However, she made other recommendations, including the chicken cordon bleu and the rabbit meatloaf, upon which I think we both made our decisions pretty quickly. So upon getting our old fashioned, and they do have, as she shared with us, Breckenridge Brewery makes their own bourbon barrels for the rabbit hole, which they do have the barrel right there in the rabbit hole. And as she noted, it's a little bit sweeter than their normal Breckenridge bourbon. It was great. The old fashioned was fantastic. It was presented well. It was aesthetically appealing as well, but really it had a great nose, palate, finish. It was delicious. The appetizers, okay, we went with the pork braised, and this is a bourbon braised, short ribs, tender, flavorful, still got a good pork flavor. I think sometimes that's where I screw up when I try to make ribs. You can't taste the damn rib meat by the time I add so much blueberry balsamic glaze on there. Theirs were perfect, delicious, great. Then we went to the entrees. Noel will share his. I went with that rabbit meatloaf. Now, I will be happy to say my ex-wife, Marissa, made an amazing meatloaf to this day, well, till 2 days ago, till yesterday. The best meatloaf I'd ever had. And I'll hold true to that. She never failed. It was always perfect, delicious, flavorful, tender, perfect. That's it. However, oh man, this meatloaf, this rabbit meatloaf at the Rabbit Hole had a gamey rabbit flavor that was absolutely delicious. Now it's also set upon a bed of mashed potatoes. They were very good, but what was the next level of amazing were the carrots. The nice, perfectly cooked carrots with amazing carrot flavor. I know you assume that, but this isn't the flavor you get from the little cut carrots at the grocery store. This is real carrot flavor, delicious, perfect, and literally perfect. It was all amazing. And then I'll let Noah share the dessert, also great. But so for me, the exterior, now, again, I've always lucked out. I've never had a hard time finding parking that was within a 30-second, 1-minute walk, except for the crosswalk. We did have to wait for a crosswalk. It is metered parking, but parking was available. And then it's fun to actually have to go down what looks like a subway entrance, a very small subway entrance, nothing like New York, a very small subway entrance to get to the restaurant. So ultimately, I give the exterior a 9. I did think it was, kitschy. It was fun. It was, again, it's cool. It's cool. The interior, though, this is where it's sexy to me. This is the kind of place I want to go to. I can see why it is normally booked for the peak dinner times. I gave the interior a 10. The bar is great. The entrance is great. The art is great. colors, dramatic lights with floral or tree arrangements, however you may want to call it. As we get to the food, I just already told you, this is my new favorite meatloaf, the rabbit meatloaf. I want to, suddenly I want to go rabbit hunting for a different reason. I want to make some rabbit meatloaf. It was perfect. The carrots were perfect. The old fashioned was perfect. I finished my meal with a Voodoo Ranger IPA draft. Perfect temperature, great flavor. Nothing strayed from how that beer should have tasted. Every piece of the meal, again, Noah's going to talk about the dessert, but what I can already tell you it was perfect. So for me, the food at 10, the service. I think the only thing that could have possibly been better is if she had been a little more high energy, but otherwise she was prompt. She got us our waters, our drinks, great recommendations, didn't stray. She was steadfast, held true, never went wanting. I gave the service a 9. Value, based on the whole experience, I gave the value a 10. It was fun, again, sexy. This is the kind of place I would want to take a date and then go, if I could, a little earlier. Enjoy the shopping area. There are some great shops, bars, restaurants all around that area. It's great. The only deterrent is just how far away it is from the Denver metro area. But so value a 10. My overall score, a 9.6. Would I meet a friend there? Well, if I have an hour to drive, yes. Would I take a date there if I have an hour to drive? Yes. Is it a destination? Absolutely. This is a place that I look forward to this summer, making an effort to go to maybe after a long hike in the springs. There's plenty of places to go on great hikes there. And the food is fabulous. Times I've been there, every time I've been there, I have not been left wanting. I've been satiated from that. This is a sexy restaurant standpoint.
I can't agree with Jesse more on almost every one of those points. The outside, it's really super unique about how you enter into this restaurant, especially anything you experience in the Denver or even the Colorado Springs area. And honestly, if you're not really paying attention, you could probably miss it, and I would have if Jesse didn't know where we were going. But the way you enter into this place, super duper cool. I really loved it. I gave the outside an 8 out of 10. The inside, if I had to give it a knock, it probably would be that it was too dark. But really, that darkness, it does subside after a while. Because, if you come in from outside when it's, super bright outside, going inside, it takes a moment to adjust. But honestly, the theme, the Alice in Wonderland theme, is so incredibly awesome in this place. All their paintings they have up are Alice in Wonderland themed. And it's not, necessarily the pleasant childhood cartoon theme that you think of Alice in Wonderland. Some of it looks kind of dark, and it's actually kind of cool. This place is awesome. And then they have little separate little cubby areas where they're tables with their own little areas and artwork and chandeliers in them. And I just love this place. This place is totally kick ass. I gave the inside a 10. The food, I got the chicken cordon bleu. I was already teetering on whether I should go with the rabbit meatloaf because she said that was their shtick, that was their thing. But then when she came up, I asked her, I'm hey, this is my first time here. What would you recommend? If it's your first time and you can only choose one item, what would you get? And this is funny because I was telling Jesse earlier, I'm thinking about going with the rabbit meatloaf because that's what she said when she first approached our table. That's what they're known for. But I was telling him, I really want to go with the chicken cordon bleu because I really do enjoy chicken cordon bleu, and I love how in their ingredients list the cheese is smoked Gouda. And she's I would go with the chicken cordon bleu is what she said. So I'm sweet, done. So I went with the chicken cordon bleu. It sat on They place it on top of a bedding of garlic mashed potatoes. And like Jesse's, it also had the well-cooked carrots, which were like, if you never had like well-cooked carrots that almost have like a slight caramelized like flavor to it, then you're not living, man. You're not living if you never had one of those. It was so, like, the carrots were cooked so perfectly well. And the white gravy that they used on the chicken cordon bleu, done to perfection. Like, this, like, cordon bleu is like the best chicken cordon bleu I've had in, I don't know, years upon years upon years, maybe the best ever. So good. I loved it. And then for dessert, we split a carrot cake, and it was done extremely well. The frosting was totally on point. The one thing I noticed is some people put raisins in their carrot cake. I could be wrong, but I don't recall tasting any raisins in the carrot cake here. The caramel drizzling that they put on it was great. The presentation was well done. I just loved it. It was like, the food was fantastic. I gave the food 10 out of 10.
The food was great.
The service, to me, I thought she was like, I didn't notice her like energy level being low, but so everything that Jesse said, minus like I didn't notice the energy level being low, so I gave her a 10.
Nice.
And then the value. If I'm giving the food a 10, the atmosphere a 10, the service a 10, then you know the value is going to be a 10. On it, and my total score is 9.6 as well. Would I take a date there? Yes. Would I meet a friend there? Yes. Is it a destination spot? Yes. The one drawback, and that's just because where we live, or where we're roommates, where we live, is that it's just the distance. But otherwise, like, if it's a special occasion, fuck yeah, man. I don't mind like driving out there just for like a birthday or for like a holiday meal or something like that. That place was freaking phenomenal. It's totally worth it. It's totally worth the time and the drive.
The other thing I forgot to mention, based on the to really boost and the understanding of the value score, is these dishes that we had. You stay away from the alcohol. $24, $28 are the average dishes there, and they are great.
Oh yeah, like if you stay away from the old fashioned, which the old fashioned was lovely. Yeah, you save yourself $15 there, and if you don't get a beer, you save yourself another like basically $9 to $10 there too. So it becomes very moderate in price if you stay away from the alcohol. And then also, like, I think like the desserts and appetizers are both like roughly right around $10 to $15 each too. So if you're just going there just for the entree, you can actually just go there for the entree and just walk out, staying under $50, and it's a phenomenal deal for under $50.
Smarter challenges.
This week's Smarter Challenge. This is a fun one, and I don't know that I expected it to be how it ended up, but it is a movie review of the 2026 black comedy thriller film, How to Make a Killing. Now, this movie stars, and this is fun, Glenn Powell, Margaret Qualley, Jessica Henwick, Bill Camp, Zach Woods, Topher Grace, and the grandpa, Ed Harris. That guy's still alive, still kicking. I loved him in The Rock. I still love him.
Oh, yeah.
A couple quick pieces just to give you a brief synopsis. So, spoiler alerts. It's directed by John Patton Ford, and it was loosely inspired by a 1949, so you're talking about a 76-year-old movie or film, Kind Hearts and Coronets. That was done by Robert Hammer and John Dighton. So Glenn Powell stars along with Margaret Qualley, and he is the son of a daughter who is disowned, or actually self-removed, from a billionaire family. Later on, as his mom, and she's 18 at the time, I believe the movie said, she gets pregnant because she has, they're at a party, she drinks champagne, she gets loose, and then she gets looser, and then she has sex with the cellist, and next thing you know, she's pregnant, then she has to decide whether or not to keep it. She decides to keep it. Good for her. Like, I really love this.
I thought that the cellist dies during childbirth.
Yeah, the cellist dies during childbirth because he sees something he can't handle. So now, not only has his mom been disowned or has she self-removed from this billionaire family, but he's fatherless. But this piece is, she's 18. She goes to her father. She educates him. You did the right thing by telling me. You know what you got to do. I won't do that. Then you got to leave. And you're gone. And she makes that choice. She stands up to her father with nothing and does well for several years, 6 or 7, 8 years. And then she gets sick, ill. The family won't help, or he won't help in particular. The mother dies. He grows up through foster care. But the key point about the mother passing is before she passed, she gave him a little bit of wisdom. Don't ever stop going after what is rightfully yours. And that's a paraphrase. She says it better. How he takes that is loosely interpreted as well until he gets older. When he's young, before his mom passes, he meets the young Margaret Qualley's character. And I'm using Julia. I'm using Margaret Qualley because, man, I've always thought she was attractive. In this movie, she's sexy. She's hot. And yeah,
she's a smoke show.
Yeah, it's insane because there's a lot of psychology. This is a good, like they call this, the internet's calling this a black comedy thriller film. And I do think it is a comedy. I do think it is a thriller. I think it's a psychological comedy thriller film. I think there's a lot of psychology that really goes into it that is so easy to pick apart and understand why people do the different things. But Julia's character,
Julia, right? Just Julia, not Julia, right?
Yeah. Margaret Qualley, oh man, she does a great job playing her role. So we've got the main character, Glenn Powell, is reintroduced to her as she's just shopping one day, and it's super interesting because she teases him. She's leading him, and she's like, well, you said one day we could go out or go get a drink. He's like, would you like to go get a drink? And she leads him along, and then she's like, I'm sorry, I'm recently married. I can't do that. But, call me when you get the Beckett fortune. Beautifully done. Gives him the idea. He gets the idea. He makes a series of killings. Other people die naturally. Then it gets really fun. This is where the thriller and I actually think it's psychology, but also the comedy comes in. The people he didn't kill are the ones he almost gets put to death for. Ultimately, he just signs over the fortune to Julia and gets out of prison, isn't dead. And then the real question is, at the end, she's the one waiting for him, not the one just there to hand him a locket with his mom's hair in it. She's the one waiting for him and takes him home to his mansion. Man, all right. Anything you want to say before we go through a few things?
First of all, I love this movie.
I did too.
And second of all, I think he ends up with the right woman.
This is so crazy. I do too.
And then thirdly, I think the director wants you to think he ended up with the wrong woman.
I don't know about that.
And we can discuss that when we get to that point, I guess. But I think, or we can talk about it right now if you want. But I think the way, like, when you look at it, he was in prison, and the way they end it, it kind of like the way they shut the gates looks like it's a prison gate shutting, and so therefore I think it's like. I think the director's saying like he went basically from one cell into another cell.
I mean, I can hear that. And I think this is the perfect place to start, actually. I see it completely.
I don't see it personally that way. I don't see it that way.
Agreed.
But I think if I take a step back, I think that's what the director was trying to tell the masses. Because the reason why I don't see it this way, I think he ended up with the woman that he deserved and the woman that he always loved, and she's always loved him. So to me, I don't see that as that being a prison for him. But I think that's what the director was trying to push. So I don't agree with what I just said. I just think that I perceive that's the way that the director was trying to go. But
I can hear what you're saying based on cinematography.
I'm tossing it to you to you could say what you want. I'm not going to interrupt you anymore.
I can see what you say based on cinematography, and it is possible the director was hinting towards that. But what I will rebuke is that he got exactly what he wanted as a child.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's what I'm saying. He ended up with the right woman.
He dreamed big, and which is another thing we'll talk about here in a moment. He dreamed big and got it. And how dare any man ever weep about it negatively? Only positively. I cry all the time when I win from joy. When my son or my daughter, they have a win, they do something great in life, I also tear up, sometimes cry. So elated with joy that I can't control the emotion and it comes out. And that's really how I feel about this piece is the writers, and I don't disagree. You could say that cinematography wise, he was in a new cage, so to speak, a new jail, prison. I'm going to take it a whole different direction from the writer's standpoint is he got everything he wanted. And we're all always in a form of prison. Doesn't matter if you're a millionaire or a billionaire. And Ed Harris's character actually says this at one point when Powell finally gets to meet him. And that is, we are a certain kind of people when we'll go that far to get this far. And that is truth. And the difference here is Margaret Qualley's character, Julia. Dude, she was the one who really was the mastermind. She did the extra pieces. She was willing to do whatever. But where I think, and so Glenn Powell plays Beckett, where I think Beckett really wins, we all see the memes. We all hear the stories. We all say the words, ride or die, this, that, and the other. Julia is literally Beckett's ride or die. And she did everything she had to get him to where he wanted to be. And I don't know that he even sees it at the end of the movie. Dude, she fucking made your world what you wanted. How dare you be anything but in lust for this lady?
So I'll say up until the point he started killing off his cousins, his family members. Julia,
she's pretty cold.
Pretty cold to him. So I wouldn't say she was the muse, if you will.
Do you remember that first conversation during the movie where she meets him and she's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "Eating cake or whatever." And she's like, "No, why are you at my birthday party?" He's like, "I was invited."
By your mom.
And she's like, where do you live? All these pieces. Gets to the point where, are you poor? He's like, "No, we have money." And she's like, "What kind of money do you have?" And he's like, "Well, someday I'll inherit billions." And she's like, "Are you trying to impress me?" And this is why I say, it was set up, whether or not this fool realized it or not.
From that day on.
From that day on, they're 8 years old. And she's like,
but she never.
"Are you trying to impress me? It's okay if you are."
But she never showed in public, if you will, that she liked Beckett. Because
she couldn't, because if she already had a plan when she's 8 years old to possibly help him become the billionaire and be his heiress, or the heir as it turns out at the end, she couldn't.
Right. And so I don't disagree with you that she's the mastermind, But I think up to the point when he started killing, she's just more of a muse.
I don't disagree, but I think she knew she had to be that. Do you remember, Woody Harrelson and that TV show, HBO, Murder?
Are you talking about True Detective?
True Detective. You remember True Detective when Woody Harrelson is approaching his wife? He's like, why does our 8-year-old daughter know about these things? Why is she drawing penises in class and all this kind of stuff? And she's like, because she has to. Dude, I literally do think there are next level women. I think I've known many of them. I think I was probably married to a couple of them. And I just didn't fully appreciate it at the time, whether they're good or potentially bad, they are literally that next level where they are probably sociopaths in some sense or factor, but they understand this is how the world works. I can show emotion here. When I do, this is what happens. I don't want to do that here. If I don't, this is what happens. That's how I want to be here. And they are very quick, and girls already age quicker. We know that. That's the whole point of the True
they
Detective
mature more quickly than guys do.
But they also give each other a harder time. They literally socially murder each other in grade school and middle school and sometimes high school and even college. They literally do the things in this movie that he did physically. They just do it emotionally and psychologically when they're half the age.
Well, and guys don't even necessarily do that to each other. They talk about all the time, and I guess when it comes down to psychology, a bunch of guys who don't even know each other, they can all come together and watch a sporting event or something like that, and they're just at the end of it, they're all just bros or whatever.
Donkey's lost, a-hole.
Yeah.
Fuck you. See you tomorrow. Cool.
Yeah. We're not guys aren't like that, but then when it comes to, and I think this is a good point. I heard this about talking about about our own country, right? You can another country cannot insult our country, just like another person can't insult your brother or sister. Because
it's feminine. That's the feminine side.
Someone cannot insult your brother or sister, or in this case our country, but if we want to, we can. If someone else does it, we're going to say, fuck you. We'll beat the crap out of you. So it's kind of you can't make fun of my friend. You can't make fun of my family member or whatever, because I'm going to stick up for them. But them and we could be at odds with each other. But you, attacking them, fuck you, right? That's kind of and women are all about the fuck you part, where guys are just more about if you're my bro, you're my family member, I'll protect you against other people. But you and I, if we got qualms, we got qualms, and that's between us. But goddamn, if someone else ever tries to step in on this.
Well, just think about the Cold War, and then we were Russia's best friend, and now there's another version of a Cold War.
Oh yeah.
Agreed. And again, this is where I say the feminine versus the masculine sides.
Women are more manipulative.
Absolutely. And, more recent studies are showing how many more of them are sociopaths and psychopaths than anyone ever thought. And they outnumber us men, whereas it was always the opposite side. Now, here's why it's the opposite side. Serial killers, what's the opposite side? The opposite side is actually to act. It's not to be psychological or emotional. It's to take physical action. And that is why that's where men step in. That's the wars, the battles. That's building the buildings, the houses, and everything that women don't need men to do, because women can be on their own.
So you're talking about this, right? These sociopaths and all that stuff. Is it women who manipulate the guys actually into action?
Absolutely.
Every single time.
Absolutely. And I don't think it's necessarily wrong. Here's where I'm going to go further on. This is why I think women love the movie American Psycho. Well, not all of you. I apologize. I'm not trying to put you all in one bucket. There's that 1% who's I don't want to be in total control. I get it. But 99% of smart women, just if we were all smart men, 99% of us want to be in control, if we can handle it. But I think the other piece is, as men, especially as conservative men, we want to, yes, provide a lot. Provide being protection, stability, a roof over her head, food on the table, care, love, and education, mentorship, all these pieces. But I do think that part of the female role is to be supportive. Now, sometimes, this is where it's a little... Sometimes that means that if the man isn't there, they have to manipulate him one way or another. Hey, I really want this. Too bad. Hey, I'll give you this if you give me that. It's all yours. and we won't go to the saying you and I both know about from high school, which is absolutely true. It all comes down to a transaction. But the point being here is this movie was so brilliantly written.
Are you talking about the one I learned? Are you talking about the one I learned actually in college?
Yeah. Oh, that's at college. Yes. But we won't say that. Hint, hint. Don't say that. This is not about taking hardwood. So, with that, I think it's actually beautiful. Now, what I'll say is where you really level up, and this is super rare. Not even and Melania. I don't mean to take anything away from Melania, but not even Melania and Donald Trump have this. Is you have two badasses that actually have their each other's backs to that level where they're 100%. And I think more so than in current political relationships or any other things, what you see in this movie is the future for this woman who literally has this guy's back. So what I mean by that is he physically carried out the actions. She emotionally and psychologically manipulated to have happen. They both did their parts. This is a sexy movie to me.
So here's the thing.
It's crazy.
It is a sexy movie. And honestly, she did what she needed to do when they met again in New York after time has passed from when they were kids, when he was working in that men's high-end dress shop. And I think if he was not being threatened to be moved to the warehouse, her initial nudge would have not been met. And right. I think, like, I would not doubt if she did her initial nudge saying, like, when you get here, we can talk again. But I think it might have been her, or she might have manipulated her husband to make it to where the owner of the dress shop wanted to make their son work there and push Glenn Powell's character Beckett to the warehouse.
I 100% believe that.
Nothing is said. There's nowhere in the movie that talks about how the owner's son was going to end up working at that shop. But I think some way, somehow, she was behind that manipulation.
Yeah, you get that hint when she walks out of the shop, it addresses her husband, and he looks back. He's like, you can see that there's some conversation going about what's going to happen next. And it is about that place. Yeah, she absolutely influenced that. Again, I don't know. I think it was beautiful. So one other reason I love this movie is back in the day, we're talking 30, 40 years ago, we have movies like Presumed Innocent, all these other things where there's a serial killer and psychologically and emotionally there are strings pulled. And I think this is the closest new version I have seen in a long time. And I love the fact that this is something I haven't seen before. Yes, it's rewritten, but the way it's done is so open. It's probably in romance novels I don't read all the time where this stuff happens. But literally, it's like a romance novel meets billionaires in the making.
So here's, like, I think the tragedy is that as Beckett is going through killing his cousins and stuff so that way he can inherit the
20 billion-ish.
The 20 billions. He ends up loving his uncle and caring for his uncle that actually took him in, and his uncle had even like confessed to him, like, I should have done more to stand up to protect you and your mother, and so let me do that now. And Beckett took that, and they ended up building a relationship, and like Beckett actually really started to appreciate his uncle. At the same time, when Beckett ended up going through his killing sprees, he killed his one cousin and actually meets the love of his life, who I think you made a very important observation about what she said. She also, I think, probably came from money, but she talked about how, why can't people dream small?
This is where we get to this. Yes, I mentioned that earlier. Yes, you're 100% right. The comment is, she's like, so have you always dreamed big? You've always had big dreams? Why can't people dream small? I just want to be a teacher. I thought I wanted to be this fashion designer, this fashion person, do all these things. And what I realized after endless days, endless being like, and this is real. And anytime you have passion, anytime you want to do something, myself included, finishing a room in the basement till 6 a.m, getting a few hours of sleep and grinding again. That's what she was doing. And then, unlike myself, I'm loving it right now. She's like, I realized I didn't love it. I just want to be a teacher. I want to add to community, not take away. Why is dreaming small not great?
And I think at that point, when she said that to Beckett understood, like, maybe I don't need to go after these billions of dollars. I can actually have a good life with her. And I think he was like, I think he loved her. I think he was really willing to, quote unquote, settle with her.
There's the problem, settle. But also there's another word, lie to her.
And be content working for his uncle. But his uncle ends up having a heart attack out of the blue. Like, he didn't have anything to do with that death.
He didn't. She did.
Well, maybe Julia's character did.
Yes.
But he didn't, because he was willing to stay. He was willing to work for his uncle. And he was happy with, what's her name?
Cassandra? No.
Ruth. He was happy with Ruth.
The problem is...
And I think he would have been okay with Ruth, honestly.
The problem is karma and kismet.
Exactly.
He fucking killed her other boyfriend.
Yeah.
That was going to come out someday.
It was going to come out someday that he killed her fiance that she was supposedly going to
leave the next day, which happens to be Beckett's cousin. That was just a bloody mess to begin with. And it would be really hard to see that be a successful relationship long term. Now, honestly, I think the long game and his best woman for him is going to be Julia, but we all wanted Julia.
And honestly, some of the scenes where Julia wanted him. Even Julia's husband's like, she doesn't want me.
Yeah, no, like she fell in love with him just like he fell in love with her. The other thing, the difference is she was always 100% committed. She was just psychology and emotion. He was the physical piece. She, like, literally, tragically, well, that's the male-female dichotomy, how it's actually supposed to be. Women are like, hey, we're about to have our 12th child. We need a bigger house. If you want more, you're going to have to put in more. And they do.
And so, yeah, it's just, she got, manipulated her husband into killing himself. I'm thinking
that's how I perceive it. Although I also think she could have just gotten him drunk enough, drugged enough one day to have him write the letter and save it for the rainy day. And then really have also been the killer. But the trick there is he's killed with a letter opener, which...
She could have killed him right away and then, walked right out right away.
She was smart enough to know where to strike so that the damage would be done and survival was not possible. That's what I love about her. She's like the Bruce Lee of females.
All right. So I'm sure, our conversation has totally, morphed into something that you weren't really anticipating. So, what did you have some pre-prepped questions here or no?
No, we've already actually covered them as far as like what do we think about the roles and the responsibilities? How was he used, manipulated? Is that so wrong? And the female-male dichotomy. Like we've already covered all those. We also both mentioned that was another thing. I said, what do we really think about the movie? I loved this movie from the standpoint of it's no different than, and I'm going to go back to like old movies like Presumed Innocent, all these different things where you don't want to think that that's how the world works. But if you're in one of the roles where the world works that well for you, you want to be in it. And that's where I look at this.
The world is way more dark and evil than people want to admit.
And it doesn't have to be. Like here's the
Epstein
tryst.
files.
Here's the tryst. She has a more clear conscience than he does. He actually physically killed people. She manipulated him. At the end of the day,
might have killed the uncle though.
What's that?
She might have killed the uncle.
I'm guessing she knew some of the drugs that helped him have his heart attack. But he was also that old. It was going to happen, like, literally from the beginning. The first time he was like, I'm going to give you a job, I was like, this guy's going to fucking die tomorrow. Like, he does not look well. I drink during our show a lot. This guy drinks like that 24/7. Like, holy fuck. How is he still alive already? But
All right, question. Would you go with Rose or would you go or Ruth or would you go with Julia?
10 times out of 10. I love the fact that Ruth wanted to dream small and still be able to live big, and I do 100% believe that's beautiful.
So you would go with Julia. Who do you think is actually the better match for Beckett?
Julia. No matter what, at some point, what Beckett did comes out. Julia's still by his side and defending him. Ruth did exactly what she did at the end of the movie, and she walks away. She gives him a locket and she walks away. And that is a fact of people. That's why I said it towards the beginning.
She's the ride or die.
She is the ride or die. That is so fucking rare. You don't let go of those friends. You don't let go of those lovers. Your parents are that. That is what a parent is. That's what a real parent is. And I know not everyone's parent is that. My parents would die for me. I actually fully believe that. I would die for my kid tomorrow.
I would say, from what I know of your family, your parents are ride or die.
Dude, 500%. They would die for any of their children.
Because
not just their favorite one.
Definitely not just for their favorite one. They probably do for their not favorite one.
I think that's just a parent role and responsibility, though. And that's, again, why I think that it's like so sexy with Beckett and Julia is this fucker doesn't even realize how great his life is about to be.
I don't think he does either. And honestly, like I said, to me, there's what I view as right versus what I think the director was trying to do.
Yeah.
And that's all like this movie comes out to me. And I love this movie because I think he ends up with the right person all the way.
I do too. I also.
And his grandfather, he was a fucking dick, an asshole. But you know what? He wasn't wrong either.
No, Ed Harris played his role perfectly. You got one chance to kill me. Otherwise, I'm coming after you because you just fucking killed my whole family.
And it's funny how, like, he's the only one in the whole family that recognized what was going on. Because his uncle could have recognized it, but I don't think he did.
I think there's always going to be pieces. But, yeah. It's to me, it's just like a phenomenal movie. I had a ton of fun. And Margaret Qualley, if you ever want to be on our show, you name the Scotch, I'll find it. Sorry you're married. Fuck.
I don't know. She was just. I've seen. I might have seen like one or two other pieces of work, but in this particular piece of work, she was just a total smoke show.
Where he won, so they like people. We don't.
He got his right to die, and she's a total smoke show on top of it.
Also, we don't always realize when we're helping motivate each other unintentionally but intentionally. And when he turns her down when she was there to fuck him sideways, and she is turned down because his soon-to-be fiance Ruth is about to hit the front door. He's like, you got to go out the back.
So, here's another great, maybe possible observation is that we know that she's always loved him. He's always loved her. And I think this is where guys and women might differ is that when he found out that she was married, he's like, done.
Oh, yeah. She was still monkey biting.
And she's like, no, you're fucking mine. And she used that to manipulate him into position.
Absolutely.
Here's something else. Like totally like off topic, but I think a little bit on topic, a slight bit, because you made a comment about like men and women in psychology and stuff. And I think this also goes with like single men versus married men, or maybe not even necessarily like married men, but once a man, but once a man has a child, it changes their perspective and what they do for success.
Absolutely 100%. Also for women, just in different ways.
Because I would say, and I would go on a limb because I've never been married, don't have a child. I would say that, and I know you have, and a couple other close friends of mine have, that once they've had a child, like it's almost like they go into like overdrive. Like they work harder, they focus more, their pursuits have changed as opposed to a single person.
Yes,
because that parental providing that protection, providing stature of what a man's supposed to do comes into play.
100%. But yes, there's also this other interesting piece where when, at least for myself and the people I know, when we became fathers, it wasn't just about being a provider. It was also about security. Now, security means reducing risks. Now,
so I think provider kind of goes into that.
Right. But where I'm going with this is reducing risks means, dude, if I'm good with my current position, role, and everything else, like I stay here to keep providing and securing this situation. But here's where the female comes in. She
pushes you to go further.
She pushes to go further. And where...
for more security.
Yeah. Where my problem has been in relationships in the past was, dude, I'm not fucking here to do more. I told you, and I did, literally, the day we met, I'm here to take care of my kids. That's my first priority. When they are 18, then I'll start taking risks again. But or graduate high school. But until then, like, I'm not the risk taker. I am here to provide for them. And I did exactly that. And that's the truth.
It's really like the men are like, they're like the Rock.
It's
like
it's one way to say that.
They're protection, and they're stable, and they're sturdy, and they're the foundation.
Oh, and I think we all as men have to make that decision.
Well, obviously,
based on our own upbringing.
Unless they go out for a gallon of milk.
Right. Based on our own upbringing and everything else, like that was one thing I always wanted was stability and security for my kids. And I don't know.
And you never went out for the gallon of milk.
I don't know that I ever like really though. Here's the tragedy. doesn't matter how much you do sometimes. It's not about the security unless you communicate it. I think with Aiden, it was communicated very well. I think, sadly for myself, with Mila, I could have done a better job. And I'm trying to give space, but be there when she needs. And that's just a reality. However, but absolutely, like a father is like, okay, there's a roof over the head, there's food on the table, and then the wife is like, nope, I want a castle, I don't want a house anymore.
Well, see, I've even known someone who's a multimillionaire who, like, he was like totally focused on being that provider, the protector, and all that stuff.
And you don't need millions for that.
You don't. But I'm just putting this as an example. Someone who's a multimillionaire who is doing this. And because he was so focused on being the protector and provider, his wife felt like she was ignored.
Oh, 200%. That's where I failed Marissa.
And she ended up cheating on him.
I don't know that ever happened to me, but that's where I failed Marissa.
But in any case, she cheated on him. And then because, obviously they have money, like he was able to like fuck over the other guy. But in any case, and things are worked out. They're back together again and all that stuff. But I don't know where I was exactly going with that story. But it's
like
just
9mm.
It's just more about like when you have a family, you're the protectorate, you're the provider, you're the cornerstone, the foundation, whatever, and you're gonna fight for it. And then I think you're exactly right. This is where Julia comes in. Is like the women are the manipulators. In this case, yeah, you're the king, but they manipulate the king into different positions and movements to achieve more or whatever.
100%.
I have nothing else to say about this movie other than I loved it, and I think he ended up with the right one.
It's great.
Go see it.
What?
Go see it.
Yeah, go see it. But I was just going to say, the interesting piece about this movie is you see the advertisements, it's like the nose of the Scotch. It's okay. You see the fucking movie, it's like the body of the Scotch. It's the palate. It's fucking all in. And then the finish is kind of like, okay, like, where does this go from there? And that's where we have to do our own imagination deciding and everything else. I loved it.
I love the movie too. All right. Well, are we ready for next week?
Next week.
All right. Next week, we are going to do a movie review of an old movie.
Oh, yeah.
Called A Scanner Darkly. It's a Keanu Reeves movie. Winona Ryder is also in this. But it's like an animation, and it has to do, well, we'll discuss what it has to do with in our next episode. But that will be the upcoming Smarter Challenge. Oh, and I guess to tie this into it, we're going to look also, not only that movie, but the drug scopamine, which is also known, I guess, like on the street as Devil's Breath. And this is apparently a drug that will, if you blow it into someone's face or whatever, they will totally forget everything, become a total zombie, and can be totally manipulated to do things. And not have a memory of doing it later on. So it kind of goes and play with like MK Ultra and shit like that.
All sorts of things.
So, and also really the scopamine, when you start looking into this, ties into the, I think it was the Batman shooting in Aurora. Was the guy when he did that shooting in Aurora?
15 years ago?
Yeah, whatever it was, 15 plus years ago. There are some theories that he was actually doused with this scopamine.
Oh, I'm sure that's what his lawyer wants us to think.
Oh, no, it wasn't even the lawyers that are trying to push this. This is like conspiracy theory. But anyways, there's that, and it's something that's used by the CIA and some cartels there in the southern South America and stuff like that. But we'll dive into that more in that. And so if you made it this far, thank you very much. We greatly appreciate those of you who watch us on YouTube and Rumble, and those who listen to us on the many different podcast platforms. If you like our content, please like, share, and subscribe, and leave some comments down below. And Jesse will give us some words of wisdom to close out this evening.
All right, words of wisdom. Remember, life is great. That does not always mean it's going to be easy. Sometimes the difficult times are the ones that make the great times that much better. But more importantly, the Bible verse of this week, Exodus 15, 1 through 4. God is my strength and defense. Now, you got to remember this. God is my strength and defense. God is my strength and defense. Ultimately, it's not about these other pieces. It's about faith. And I'm not going to pretend for one moment, as someone who's been going to church with my son for months and months now, joyfully. But God is my strength and defense. And that, gentlemen, is one of the things that brings me peace. Ladies, that is something that brings me peace. And the difference there is strength and defense, and really understanding what people's roles are in life. So remember, life is great. That doesn't always mean it's going to be easy. The difficult times make the better times that much better. And do not drink and drive. Please drink responsibly. Until next week. Scotchman. Cheers.
We hope you enjoyed this evening's episode of Scotch Hour. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you have not done so already, please become a patron member, with memberships starting as low as $1 a month. Thank you, and hopefully you have a wonderful evening.